please note the following story contains graphic details. A former accused in the kidnapping and trafficking case of 6-year-old Joshlin Smith has revealed that the person who allegedly bought the little girl wanted her eyes and skin. Laurentia Lombard revealed this during her testimony in the Western Cape High Court, which is sitting in Saldanha Bay. Last week, she said Joshlin's mother, Kelly, who is an accused in this matter, told her that she sold the little girl to a sangoma for 20,000 rand because she needed the money. Lombard is a key figure in this trial after another accused, Stefano van Rijn, placed her at the house the day Joshlin disappeared.
To say Kelly and my Reens.
Then Kelly mentioned to me, Reens.
Sy weet wat het sy met Joshlin gemaak.
She knows what she did with Joshlin.
En sy noem aan my.
Then she mentioned to me.
Reens, en daar is iemand.
Reens, there is someone.
Wat vir haar betaal om stil te bly.
Who is paying her to keep quiet.
En ek het vir haar gevra, wie is die persoon?
Then I asked her who this person be.
Maar sy het nooit vir my gesê wie die persoon is of wie die naam het sy nooit genoem vir my nie.
She never told who this person is, or mentioned the name of this person.
En die persoon wat vir Joshlin soek vir haar oor en vir haar vel.
And the person who wanted to look for Joshlin, wanted Joshlin for the eyes and the skin.
Let's stay with that testimony. Lombard has also appealed to the person who allegedly took Joshlin to bring her home.
Ek voel baie seer.
Very hurt.
En ek is vir ma van 4 kinders.
I'm also mother of 4 kids.
Ek het geweet, beplanning wat Kelly en Buddha, wat Kelly gehad en Buddha gehad het.
I didn't know about the plan that Kelly had.
En ek het maar daarna kom afluister vir hulle, wat sy en Buddha gepraat het, hoe die kind sy verkoop en die kind sy verkoop.
I at a later stage overheard with something talking about the decided to sell the child.
Maar ek het van probeer stop en ek het van probeer keer, maar sy wil nie geluister na my nie.
But I tried to stop her, but she wouldn't listen to me.
En ek voel vandaag baie seer en daar waar die kind is en wie die kind het, ek vraag met alle respect en discipline, die een wat die kind het, of wie ook al die kind het, ek vraag dat die kind moet terugbring.
Today my Lord asked me to appeal to whoever may have a child.
En dat jy nou
bring the child back.
En dat jy nou wil lewe, my Lord.
And that the child is still alive.
Well, let's stay with the story now. Joining us is Bianca van Aswegen, Missing Children South Africa's national coordinator. Bianca, it's good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for coming on. And I prefaced those sound bites by saying it was chilling testimony coming from Laurentia Lombard. We'll get to the testimony of Michaela Daniels in just a moment. She's been on the stand, Joshlin Smith's aunt, essentially, Kelly Smith's sister. But let's talk about what Laurentia Lombard had to say when she described to the court the conversation she heard about Kelly Smith selling her daughter Joshlin last year.
Good afternoon, Michelle. If we look at what the testimony was now of the selling, the reason for selling Joshlin, we've got 2 sides to this. A child being sold for human trafficking purposes, and also then a child being sold for traditional medicine where it comes in with the sangoma. That is very much traditional, cultural and religious beliefs why a child would be sacrificed for traditional medicine. We do not often see that happen in the Western Cape, though, because it's very much cultural orientated. If it might be for human trafficking purposes, yes, we do see organ harvesting happening for human trafficking, but we'll have to unfortunately wait and see where this actually goes to. But we should not lose the focus on the fact that Joshlin is still missing.
Certainly. I mean, do you find that, just still staying on Laurentia Lombard's testimony, do you find the callous way that at least she describes Joshlin Smith's discussing the possibility of selling her daughter, do you find that incredibly unsettling, even though she sort of explains it away by saying that she is in real financial trouble.
It is unsettling, but unfortunately it is something that we are seeing happening in South Africa, especially for human trafficking purposes, where families are actually exploiting their own children or selling them into trafficking rings, for instance. Unfortunately, poverty has stricken our country, especially after lockdown and COVID. People are uneducated. They are in desperate financial need, for instance, and that is something that we have seen is happening. But most often, we do not see actually the families reporting those children as missing that they actually sell or exploit. So it's very contradictory here why a mother would actually sell her child and report the child as missing. Maybe to get the attention away. We don't know what the reasons might be. But yes, we do see this happening, and it is absolutely of a great concern that this needs to be stopped in our country.
Bianca, how much of a role would drugs have played in this picture that's being painted in court? So much of the testimony has focused on how many times all three accused, Laurentia Lombard as well, has admitted, the person who testified before this, she's admitted to using drugs several times in a single day. She talks about buying tuk a number of times that day, the day Joshlin Smith went missing. So how much of a role do you reckon drugs would have played in the kinds of discussions she alleges were taking place?
Drugs could play a big role. As we know with human trafficking, for instance, we also see that children are being sold due to drug debt. So if she owes a lot of money to a drug dealer, that might be the reason why a child would be sold. But we do see this in the aspect of human trafficking, for instance. She might have not been in the right mind when she did it, but yes, drugs do play an important role in the evidence in this case, especially for that might actually be the reason why Joshlin has been sold.
So let's move on to Michaela Daniels, who's on our screens at the moment. She's the sister to Kelly Smith. She's been giving similar testimony about conversations she had over the phone with Joshlin's mother, where she admits to someone wanting to buy the child, is apparently what she tells Michaela Daniels. I'm not sure whether it's come up in court, but you know, so much time has now passed since the 19th of February 2024. Bianca, you've told us several times just how important the first 24 hours are when it comes to a missing child. Surely this would have been evidence that the police would have had when they were investigating more than a year ago.
Yes, and also it raises another question of why did she not report this to the police before Joshlin actually went missing, if she knew this was the intention of her mother or of her sister wanting to sell off her own children. And I think that is one of the main problems that we are seeing with trafficking, especially if families are involved. The community is not standing up, reporting things where we can actually intervene before actually something happens. So, for instance, if you do see a mom being pregnant and 9 months later there is no baby, the question is raised, where is that child? So there's so many things that we have question marks around this. Why did people, having conversations with Joshlin's mom prior to her actually going missing, why has nothing like this have been reported before? And that there could have been an intervention.
Certainly. I mean, this is probably the most media attention, or at least among the most media attention that a missing persons case has gotten in South Africa for this length of time. Is there a particular significance in your experience, Bianca, of keeping a case like this in the public eye?
Yes, this is one of the cases that we've seen that has gotten the most attention, the biggest search we've ever seen for a missing child. We actually compare it to the Madeleine McCain case. It's also very well known. It got so many media attention. It's still currently in the media. But why? And the question remains, what about all the other children that are missing? We've got so many children that go missing on a daily basis in South Africa. Why aren't those children getting the same attention? It is amazing how the media can assist and how social media can assist with finding a child that is missing. But it needs to be an ongoing thing, but not just for one child. It needs to be for all children. We've got so many children that are currently missing dating back to the 1980s. And we make sure that those cases, those cold cases, still get the media attention that they need. So this is a very strange thing. Yes, social media did play a very big role there in Joslin's case. We've seen political parties get involved that we've never seen before with a missing child's case. But once again, I've raised the question to what about all the other children?
And how many children are going missing in South Africa every day, Bianca?
Unfortunately, we don't have latest stats, but the last stats that were released in 2013 by the Missing Persons Bureau of South Africa was one child going missing every 5 hours. And we as an organization seeing an increasing number of child cases being reported to our organization, the increasing number of kidnappings happening in our country that's escalated to over 300%. We do see human trafficking cases being reported and on the increase. So this is of a great concern in regarding all missing persons cases, and it needs the same priority as what Joslin's case has gotten.
It really does. And I suppose it also just adds to the complexity of missing children cases, the complexities that already exist when we add now this dimension of people trying to sell their own or traffic their own children for whatever the reason might be. But just in terms of the expertise needed to crack a case of this nature, to crack a missing persons case, missing children's case in South Africa, do we have that coordination and expertise, in your opinion?
Yes, we do. We've got our units within our police system that work specifically with our children's cases. Then we've got us as organizations that also assist, but there's always more that can be done. Our specialized unit within SAPS, law enforcement, other government bodies needs to have ongoing training, especially when it comes to kidnapping and human trafficking. We also need to expand those units to increase the number of police personnel in those units, because they are overcapacitated with the amount of cases that land on their tables. But we also ask that people, the public and our business sector, please support us as organizations, because we also work directly with these law enforcement agencies and with our police units to do whatever possible to bring a child that's missing back home safely.
One child going missing every 5 hours in South Africa. What a mammoth task it is. Bianca van Aswegen, thanks as always for your time here on 405. Bianca is the National Coordinator at Missing Children South Africa. And at 2 o'clock, the case involving the kidnapping and trafficking of 6-year-old Joshlin Smith continues in the Western Cape High Court, sitting in Saldanha Bay.